The world of combat sports is no stranger to rivalry, but few rivalries could ever match the electric mix of charisma, talent, and pure raw intensity that would occur if two icons from different worlds, Conor McGregor and Shawn Michaels, faced off in a battle for supremacy. Imagine the brash, unapologetic swagger of McGregor, a UFC megastar known for his knockout punches and unfiltered confidence, going head-to-head with the Heartbreak Kid himself, the show-stealing, high-flying legend, Shawn Michaels. On the surface, they couldn't be more different. Yet when you dig a little deeper, you realize that both share the same burning desire to be the best, to be remembered, to be feared. Conor McGregor, the notorious Irishman, has never been one to back down from a challenge, whether it's inside the UFC octagon or on the streets. His trash talk is as famous as his fists, and his list of opponents ranging from Jose Aldo to Khabib Nurmagomedov proves that McGregor never shies away from the biggest stages. But what if, instead of facing another MMA fighter, McGregor's next opponent was someone from the squared circle? What if the fight wasn't under UFC rules, but instead in a WWE ring, against a man who revolutionized wrestling with his incredible athleticism and magnetic personality? Shawn Michaels, the man who redefined what it meant to be a WWE superstar, the man whose sweet chin music can knock out anyone in its path, would be the ultimate challenge for McGregor. The idea of these two titans colliding is more than just a battle of fists and feet. It's a clash of cultures, a meeting of two worlds where raw physicality meets calculated performance, where McGregor's relentless confidence and trash-talking collide with Michaels' storied history of electrifying performances and iconic moments. Their rivalry wouldn't just be about who could throw the hardest punch, but about who could own the stage, command the crowd, and prove that they are the ultimate showman. But before we even get into the potential showdown, let's look at the paths that would bring these two together. Conor McGregor, born and raised in Dublin, Ireland, stormed onto the global combat sports scene with an undeniable flair for dramatic entrances and a penchant for stirring up controversy. His rise through the ranks of the UFC was meteoric, with the world watching as he claimed multiple championships in different weight classes. His persona was larger than life, and his skills in the octagon matched the hype. McGregor wasn't just a fighter, he was a brand, a movement. But as his UFC career progressed, many fans and pundits began to wonder, could McGregor find a new stage to shine on? One that might push him to explore other realms of entertainment? Enter Shawn Michaels, born in Texas, a man who defined an era in the WWA. Known for his high-flying moves, intense rivalries, and unforgettable performances, Michaels had a career that spanned decades, cementing him as one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. His battles against opponents like Bret Hart, The Undertaker, and Triple H are etched in history, but Michaels' journey didn't stop there. Even after his retirement from the active wrestling ring, he remained a vital figure in the WWE, mentoring younger talent and making occasional returns to the ring to remind fans why he's called the Heartbreak Kid. His charm and appeal didn't just come from his athleticism, but from his ability to entertain, making him a perfect foil to McGregor's larger-than-life persona. Imagine the build-up to this clash of worlds. McGregor, ever the showman, taunts Michaels, calling him out on social media, daring him to face him in a fight that would transcend anything either of them had done before. "You're just a wrestler," McGregor would sneer. "I'm a real fighter. Come prove it." But Michaels, never one to back down from a challenge, responds with a smirk. "I've fought legends in the ring. You think you're any different?" The war of words escalates, and soon fans across the globe are buzzing. Would McGregor actually step into a WWE ring? Could he survive the demanding world of professional wrestling, where athleticism and storytelling go hand in hand? The storyline grows even more intriguing when you think about the contrast in their fighting styles. McGregor's precise strikes, his ability to read his opponent's movements and take advantage of every opening, would be put to the test in the WWE environment, where unpredictability rules and scripted moments often take center stage. Would he be able to adapt to the larger-than-life spectacle of professional wrestling? Could he handle the rigors of a match that isn't just about winning, but about entertaining the crowd, telling a story, and enduring the theatrics that come with the territory? On the other hand, Michaels' experience in the WWA would be invaluable, as he's no stranger to high-pressure situations and massive crowds. His ability to work a crowd, draw emotion from the fans, and make even the most physically demanding matches seem effortless would give him an edge. But could he withstand the raw, aggressive nature of McGregor, a man whose punches could change the course of a fight in seconds? But let's take a step back and ask, why would these two ever step into the ring together? The idea of McGregor entering the world of professional wrestling is a tempting thought. After all, we've seen how crossover athletes have found success in the WWE. Look no further than Ronda Rousey, who transitioned from UFC stardom to become a prominent WWE superstar. If McGregor could capture even a fraction of the passion and intensity he brings to the UFC into the WWE ring, he could spark a new era for the company. And for Shawn Michaels, a legend in his own right, this could be the ultimate test to prove once and for all that he's the greatest showman, that no one, not even the notorious McGregor, could outshine his legacy. But as the tension between these two heats up, one question remains. What happens when McGregor and Michaels finally meet face to face? The anticipation, the excitement, the drama, will it live up to the hype? Or will it be a moment where one man's legacy is shattered by the other? The world waits for the answer, and the stage is set for a showdown unlike anything we've ever seen before. The weeks that followed McGregor's challenge saw an explosive buildup unlike anything either the UFC or WWE had ever witnessed. On one side, McGregor remained his brash, unpredictable self, taunting Michaels on social media and in interviews. He would constantly mock the WWA's scripted nature, belittling its predetermined outcomes and claiming that his talents would be wasted in a ring where the outcome was already written. His fans, loyal to the bone, hung on every word he said, ready to back their fighter as the greatest of all time, even if that meant stepping into unfamiliar territory. On the other hand, Michaels, ever the seasoned pro, kept his cool. For him, this wasn't just about an individual fight, it was a statement. He had fought the best of the best in the squared circle, but McGregor was different. Michaels knew the allure of McGregor's star power, and he also knew that stepping into the ring with someone like him could either elevate his own legendary status or be the beginning of the end for his storied career. Yet, Shawn's response wasn't just about his rivalry with McGregor, it was about something deeper. In the months leading up to the challenge, Michaels had been struggling with his place in the WWA universe. He had stepped back from the active scene, only making occasional appearances, content with his role as a mentor to younger wrestlers. But the call from McGregor, with its brashness and aggression, was almost impossible to ignore. It was a test, one that Michaels didn't ask for, but perhaps needed. Could he still deliver the kind of match that fans would remember for decades? Could he still prove that the Heartbreak Kid had what it took to outshine the flash and bravado of someone like McGregor, who seemed to command attention in every room he entered? The anticipation for this match wasn't confined to just the two men. The fans were split. On one side, McGregor's supporters cheered for a new era, one where the world of mixed martial arts clashed with professional wrestling in a way that no one had ever seen before. They saw McGregor as the future, someone who could reshape the boundaries of combat sports in a way that only he could. They imagined him coming into the WWA with the same energy and aggression that had made him a champion in the UFC. On the other side, the WWA loyalists stood firmly behind Michaels, some of them criticizing McGregor for being disrespectful and dismissive of the craft of professional wrestling. To them, McGregor was just another outsider trying to make a name for himself in a world he didn't belong to. They didn't just want Michaels to win. They wanted him to silence McGregor in a way that no one else could. The intrigue grew even more complex when rumors started circulating that McGregor had been training not just in the standard UFC regimen, but also with former WWA superstars and trainers. Could he actually be preparing himself for the physicality of wrestling? Or was this all just a publicity stunt to hype up a match that would never happen? McGregor had always been known for his willingness to take risks, but was he really prepared for the demanding nature of the WWE ring? Wrestling wasn't just about strength and striking power. It was about storytelling, stamina, and most of all, putting on a show for millions. Could McGregor, whose entire career had been built on quick victories and his trash-talking persona, adapt to that world? The thought of him pulling off an iconic wrestling move or connecting with the crowd in ways a UFC fight never could was enough to keep everyone guessing. Meanwhile, the tension in WWE circles started to grow. While some believed that McGregor was just trying to generate headlines, others saw this challenge as an opportunity for the company to bring in a fresh face with crossover appeal. There were rumors that WWE executives were already talking to McGregor's team, exploring how a potential partnership might look. The thought of McGregor competing in the same ring as legends like John Cena, The Rock, and even Michaels himself had the WWE brass buzzing. Yet, behind the scenes, some longtime WWE superstars felt uneasy about the idea. What if McGregor's flashy persona overshadowed everything they had worked for? What if his presence in the ring stole the spotlight from the hard work of those who had dedicated their lives to the art of wrestling? These concerns weren't just from the older generation of wrestlers, either. Even younger talent, eager to carve out their own names, feared that McGregor's sheer star power might eclipse their own efforts to rise within the company. The match that McGregor and Michaels were building towards seemed destined to be more than just a physical contest. There was a psychological game at play too. McGregor, knowing that Michaels was a man who thrived on emotion and the crowd's energy, would push all the right buttons, trying to get into his head. But Michaels wasn't the type to be easily rattled. He had been through countless battles with legends like Bret Hart, Triple H, and The Undertaker. He had faced his own personal demons and come out stronger for it. If anything, McGregor's attempts to get under his skin would only fuel his desire to prove that he was still the best. But there was one thing McGregor had that Michaels couldn't ignore: his unpredictability. Michaels might have mastered the art of wrestling, but McGregor had mastered the art of chaos. With his unpredictability, he kept opponents off balance, and his unorthodox fighting style was something that no one could fully prepare for. Could Michaels adapt to McGregor's aggressive nature, or would he be caught off guard by the raw, unfiltered aggression that McGregor brought to every confrontation? And what if McGregor had a few surprises of his own, hidden up his sleeve? As the date of the showdown drew nearer, both men began to take their preparations more seriously. McGregor's social media posts became more intense, mocking Michaels at every turn. But Michaels' silence only added to the tension. The longer he stayed quiet, the more the anticipation built. What was Michaels planning? Was he waiting for the right moment to strike, or was he simply biding his time, knowing that the biggest showdown of his career was just around the corner? In the background, both men's entourages were quietly stirring the pot, adding layers to an already complex situation. Whispers spread of possible alliances, of strategies being put in place, and of secrets that neither McGregor nor Michaels had revealed. But in the end, all that mattered was what would happen when the two met face to face in the ring. Would McGregor walk in as a champion, proving once again that he could dominate any stage? Or would Michaels remind the world why he earned the title of the showstopper, showing that no one, not even the notorious Irishman, could outshine the true master of spectacle? The clock was ticking, and with each passing day, the world was waiting for the answer. The pressure was mounting as the days counted down to the biggest showdown of the year. McGregor's presence in the media had become almost overwhelming. His fans were in a frenzy, rallying behind him, eager to see how he would handle the WWE ring. Every interview, every social media post, every taunt was an opportunity for McGregor to prove that he could conquer yet another world, leaving his mark as the ultimate crossover athlete. He began to make more direct threats towards Michaels, promising to end the fairy tale and expose the wrestling legend for what he truly was, a man past his prime, clinging to the glory of a bygone era. Each insult grew sharper, each challenge more personal, until the air between them felt as tense as a live wire. Meanwhile, the WWE Universe was starting to question Michaels' silence. For someone whose entire career had been built on dramatic moments, his refusal to engage with McGregor only added to the intrigue. It was as if Michaels was biding his time, calculating his every move. Was he simply playing the long game, or had he underestimated McGregor's audacity? Rumors spread that Michaels was planning something far more elaborate than anyone anticipated. Some speculated that he was waiting for McGregor to make his first misstep, to let the cocky Irishman run his mouth until he had no choice but to make an unforgettable statement. Others thought Michaels was preparing a grand spectacle, a surprise twist that would leave McGregor and the entire WWE fan base reeling. Whatever the case, it was clear that Michaels wasn't taking this challenge lightly. The intrigue intensified one evening when McGregor made a surprise visit to a live WWE event. As the crowd roared in excitement, the cameras caught McGregor strolling down the ramp, casually trash-talking the audience and daring Michaels to show his face. McGregor's appearance was unexpected, but it wasn't the first time he'd done something out of character to keep the attention on himself. But this time, something was different. McGregor wasn't just trying to steal the spotlight, he was trying to bait Michaels into doing something that would make the stakes even higher. The crowd was in a frenzy, waiting for the Heartbreak Kid to appear and respond, but Michaels was nowhere to be found. As McGregor stood in the ring, the tension became palpable. He taunted the fans, calling out to Michaels by name, insisting that the old man was too scared to face him. The longer Michaels stayed absent, the more McGregor's mockery grew. Just when it seemed like McGregor had won the psychological battle, the arena lights suddenly went dark. The crowd went silent. Then, as the lights flickered back on, there he was, Shawn Michaels, standing at the top of the ramp, with his signature smirk plastered across his face. But Michaels wasn't alone. Behind him stood an unexpected figure, none other than Triple H, The Game, a man whose connection to Michaels was legendary. The crowd gasped. The tension was thick in the air. Was this a reunion of old allies, or was something darker at play? McGregor's confidence began to waver, But he quickly recovered, calling out to Michaels and Triple H with more venom than before. He mocked their history together, claiming that both men were simply relics of the past, struggling to stay relevant. Yet, Michaels and Triple H didn't react the way McGregor expected. Instead of rushing to the ring, they stood there, exchanging knowing glances as if they had already planned this moment. Slowly, Michaels raised a microphone to his lips, his voice steady but laced with the tension that had been building for weeks. "You think you can waltz into my world and disrespect everything I've built?" Michaels' voice echoed through the arena. "You think that just because you're loud, because you can throw a punch, that you can intimidate me or anyone else in this company?" He paused, letting the words sink in. "You've got the wrong idea, Conor. You've poked the wrong bear." The crowd was on the edge of their seats. No one had expected this response from Michaels. For all his bravado, McGregor seemed to be losing control. Michaels continued, "I've fought the best. I've outlasted them. And you've barely scratched the surface of what it means to be a true champion in this business." McGregor's face twisted in anger, but he refused to back down. "You're nothing but a washed-up wrestler," he snapped, his words dripping with disdain. "I'm the one running this show now. I'm the face everyone knows." But then, in a stunning twist, Triple H stepped forward. "You want to fight, McGregor?" His voice was low, but it carried weight. "You're not just going to get a match with Shawn. You're going to have to earn it. And it's not going to be in some scripted storyline. It's going to be a fight, a real fight. You're going to face both of us." The arena erupted into chaos as McGregor's jaw clenched. This wasn't what he had bargained for. His eyes flicked between Michaels and Triple H, who were now standing side by side, their years of experience and bond apparent to everyone in the arena. For the first time in a long while, McGregor looked uncertain. He had taken on some of the best in UFC, but facing two UWA legends, especially one like Triple H, was a different beast altogether. What was supposed to be his moment of glory now felt like a trap closing in around him. But McGregor wasn't about to back down. "You want to bring the game into this? Fine. But don't think you've got me figured out. I've fought tougher men, and I've broken them all." His voice was full of defiance, but there was a flicker of doubt in his eyes. This wouldn't be easy. What had once seemed like a simple rivalry was now escalating into a full-blown spectacle that was about to consume everyone involved. As the tension simmered, the audience waited for someone to make the next move. Would McGregor accept the challenge, or would he retreat into his bravado and back out at the last second? And just how far was Michaels and Triple H willing to take this challenge? With every passing second, the stakes grew higher. The fight had only just begun, and no one, not even McGregor, could predict where it would end. The crowd was on its feet, and the world was watching. The countdown to what could be the most epic showdown in combat sports history was officially underway. The question now wasn't if they would fight, but when and how much damage would each of them be willing to endure. The arena was electric, the anticipation almost unbearable. McGregor stood in the ring, pacing, his fists clenched, the weight of the challenge dawning on him. Michaels and Triple H, still at the top of the ramp, exchanged a knowing glance before slowly making their way down. Each step they took was deliberate, as if every move was part of a greater strategy. McGregor's earlier confidence had started to fade, but he wasn't about to back down, not yet, not after everything he had said. This wasn't just about a match. This was about pride, legacy, and the chance to prove that no one could outshine him. As the trio stood face to face in the ring, The crowd could feel the tension in the air, the clash of egos and the collision of two worlds, one of pure, unrelenting aggression and the other of calculated showmanship. The moment hung there, suspended in time. Michaels took a step forward, his eyes locking with McGregor's. The fire that had once made him the centerpiece of WWA was still there, but there was something else in his gaze, something deeper. "You came here to prove something, Conor," Michaels said softly, "but you've underestimated the one thing that makes us different. This isn't just a fight. This is about respect." McGregor's lips curled into a smile, though it was a smile that couldn't hide the uncertainty in his eyes. "Respect," he mocked. "I don't need respect. I need victory. I'll crush you both." But despite the bravado, his hands trembled slightly, betraying his nervous energy. The match was set. It wasn't going to be just one fight, but a battle with high stakes that no one could have predicted. The bell rang, and McGregor was the first to strike, moving with the speed and precision that had made him an MMA legend. He unleashed a flurry of punches, each one aimed to take Michaels down quickly, but Michaels was ready. He ducked, dodged, and countered with the precision that made him the master of in-ring storytelling. The crowd was on their feet, roaring with excitement as McGregor's fast-paced assault met Michaels' fluid defense. But McGregor wasn't used to this kind of match. Every punch he threw seemed to meet air. Every movement he made was calculated and countered. The more he pushed, the more frustrated he became, and that frustration began to play into Michaels and Triple H's hands. It was a dance, a performance, one that McGregor couldn't quite keep up with. But then, just when it seemed like Michaels had the upper hand, McGregor landed a wild haymaker that connected, knocking Michaels off balance. The crowd gasped as Michaels stumbled backward, but he quickly regained his footing. Just when the match seemed to be tipping in McGregor's favor, Triple H entered the fray. The Game, known for his ruthless aggression, slid into the ring, catching McGregor off guard. With an elbow to the back of McGregor's head, the fight quickly escalated from a one-on-one brawl to a chaotic no-holds-barred battle. McGregor was relentless, but Triple H and Michaels worked together like a well-oiled machine, each move coordinated and precise. For the first time in his career, McGregor felt out of his depth. Every time he gained an inch, they took it back with two. It wasn't just about strength. It was about experience and mastery of the ring, a world McGregor was only beginning to understand. Then, in a stunning twist, Michaels turned to McGregor, who was dazed and on the mat. "You want to prove yourself, Conor. You want respect," he said, his voice cold, but there was a glint of admiration in his eyes. "Then take it." Without warning, Michaels lifted McGregor to his feet, and for a split second, the arena held its breath. In an unbelievable turn of events, Michaels set up for his iconic sweet chin music, the move that had ended so many careers. But just as he was about to deliver the devastating kick, McGregor, in a final moment of desperation, countered. He ducked, dodging the kick, and in a flash of brilliance, landed a crushing blow to Michaels' midsection. The crowd went wild as McGregor took the moment to regain control. The balance of power shifted, and for a brief moment, it seemed like he might actually pull off the impossible. But just as McGregor turned to Triple H, the Game delivered a brutal pedigree, slamming McGregor into the canvas with terrifying force. The impact left McGregor motionless on the mat, and Michaels stood over him, his breath heavy but triumphant. The crowd erupted, knowing that this was it, the final moment. But the twist didn't end there. Just as it seemed that McGregor was out for the count, he somehow managed to rise to his feet, defying the odds. His pride and determination pushed him forward. With a newfound clarity, He faced both Michaels and Triple H, his body bruised, his energy drained, but his spirit unbroken. McGregor threw everything he had left into one final charge, not just for victory, but for survival. The crowd, still in shock, watched as McGregor launched himself into a wild but well-timed flying kick aimed straight at Triple H. In that moment, it became clear McGregor might have been outmatched, but he wasn't finished. The force of the kick knocked Triple H back, creating just enough space for McGregor to hit his opponent with a devastating series of strikes. The audience was in disbelief, watching a man who had been battered and broken come back with everything he had. And in a shocking, last-second reversal, McGregor managed to pin Triple H to the ground. The referee counted. 1, 2, 3. The bell rang. McGregor had won. The arena exploded. The impossible had happened. McGregor, against all odds, had survived a fight and emerged victorious, if not with the respect of the WWE Universe, then with the undeniable truth that he could conquer any challenge. But as McGregor stood there, breathing heavily, fists raised in triumph, he turned to Michaels, who had already recovered. The two shared a look not of animosity, but of something deeper. A shared respect for the fight that had just taken place. McGregor had won, but it was clear that the victory wasn't just about the match. It was about proving to the world and to himself that no matter where he fought, no matter the odds, Conor McGregor was always going to be a force to be reckoned with. And as the crowd continued to roar, McGregor left the ring with his head held high, leaving behind an unforgettable chapter in combat sports history. The story wasn't over, but one thing was certain. This was a victory that would echo across both the UFC and WWE for years to come.